And one. Good evening, I'm Bill Maley, your Brighton Town Supervisor, and I'm pleased to welcome you to tonight's meeting, February 24, 2021, of the Brighton Town Board. Again, this meeting is being conducted remotely on Zoom. It's being broadcast in Brighton on Spectrum Cable Channel 1303, and it's also being live streamed on the town's YouTube channel, all in compliance with Governor Cuomo's executive order modifying certain provisions of the open meetings law to enable local government bodies to continue to meet remotely in a way that's open and accessible to the public. We will continue to do that, and we will continue to hold our open forum in just a moment. When the open forum begins, you'll be able to call in at 303-3060. Someone will take your call and pass a summary of your question or your comment on to me. We also continue to make our meetings accessible to the deaf and hard of hearing community with our ASL sign language interpreters. As you see, that's Heather on the screen now, and Allie also here tonight. Thank you both. Tonight's agenda, as well as all the materials we are looking at and reviewing in connection with the decisions we're making tonight, are available on the Town of Brighton webpage, www.townofbrighton.org. We'll start, as we always do, with the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I start tonight by saying the name Daniel Prude. Say his name, and then look at the systems that had responsibility for Daniel Prude, for his brother, Joe Prude, and the rest of the Prude family. On a cold evening in March on Jefferson Avenue, members of the Rochester Police Department were looking for Mr. Prude, initially because his brother Joe called concerned about his health. His brother told police that he had left the house acting in a way consistent with mental issues, and he indicated that his brother may have taken some drugs. Now, our society doesn't deem drug use as a death sentence. In fact, we devote significant resources to treat and cure people with drug addictions. Now, police later received a call about a man walking in the street wearing no clothes, and they responded to that call and finally found Mr. Prude there on Jefferson Avenue. If you watch the video, the first thing that really struck me is that you see Mr. Prude following the directions of the police officers. It's a cold night. He's on the asphalt, 32 degrees. They tell him to lie down, and he lies down on the asphalt. They tell him to put his hands behind his back, and he put his hands behind his back. He was compliant. They handcuffed him. But they never gave him a blanket to cover himself or to keep him warm. His mental condition was obvious, but instead of trying to diffuse the situation, ultimately they put him in a spit hood, forced to the ground, held down till he stopped breathing. That night, the law enforcement system had an opportunity to serve and protect Mr. Prude as his guardians, and they failed to do that. Now, I'm always reluctant to point the finger at other agencies, but after Daniel Prude's death, the city was next to fail Mr. Prude and his family. Full information, including body camera video, was not released by the city for months, leaving his family with unanswered questions, the kinds of questions that families of Black men and Black women across the nation have asked for years. They failed Mr. Prude's family. And finally, yesterday, we learned that the criminal justice system has failed Daniel Prude and the Prude family and the community as a whole, when a Monroe County grand jury decided that this case did not even deserve a criminal trial. These are systemic failures across the board, the kind of failures that families of Black sons and daughters have seen all too often. One common thread is a lack of transparency at every step of the way. A man died alone on a dark street after his brother simply tried to get him help. Then the city went dark and never reported the case until it couldn't hold back any longer. And the grand jury process is steeped in secrecy in New York, where a court order was needed even to learn what charges were being considered presented. These systems are broken. The first piece of cure is obviously transparency, but it can't end there. The need for change is much greater than that. And at the heart of it all, it boils down to a reminder that government, whether we're talking about law enforcement, city hall or town hall, or the courts, exist to serve the people. And the police, the city, and the judicial system failed to serve Mr. Prude and his family. This cannot happen again. Let me talk for a moment about vaccines and testing. Rapid COVID testing is continuing at Temple Birth Kodesh, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1:30 to 3:30. Every week, the sign up is available starting at noon on Friday afternoons for the following week, all at www.monroecounty.gov. And I want to remind you again that pre-registration is required here at the Temple Birth Kodesh site. Testing, again, is so important. One, because the data is data that's used by our public health officials, by Dr. Mendoza, to track the pandemic here in the area, basing their decisions on that data. But obviously, again, the more we're able to test people and identify particularly asymptomatic cases of COVID, the more we can identify and isolate people with the disease. Vaccines are an ongoing challenge, and yet we know that they are the most important part of the way out. I understand there are new openings available. I believe monroecounty.gov has some. They may be all filled up now, or at least in the short term. Kudos for the new site at the old Hawkeye facility up on St. Paul in the city. Those are not available yet to the town of Brighton and their residents, but they are available to qualified people in certain zip codes in the city. And that is an important part of making sure that equity is there in the vaccine process. I do. I just want to encourage people, keep trying. It's frustrating, I know. If you're eligible for the vaccine, keep trying. Please get the shot, get the vaccine, do it for yourself, do it for your family, do it for the people that care about you and for the people that you care about. Obviously, the weather has been pretty challenging lately. Today was a very warm day after a lot of snow. We had 1.5 feet of snowpack, I think officially as of the day before yesterday. But obviously when you get a day like today in the mid-50s and a lot of melting, you also get issues with sidewalks. Some people have asked me, why are the sidewalks not as clean as the streets are? And there are really a number of reasons, but I do want to give a shout out to our sidewalk plow crews. They've been working. I saw them out even on Sunday, continuing to plow those streets, the sidewalks rather. But a couple of things. One, sidewalks are not like streets. Streets, asphalt is a continuous sheet of asphalt. Sidewalks are one slab after another, and they're not completely flat. They're a little tilted, a little cockeyed. So you can't put the blade right down on the pavement the way you do on the streets. If you hit those places where the sidewalk is humped up a little bit, you can damage the plow blade, and maybe even the driver. So there's always a need to keep that blade up a little bit also, so you're not digging up the grass. We know that's a challenge as well. Our crews will be back in the spring repairing grass that does get dug up, but it's not possible to get that blade always right down to surface level. And we can't salt. We can't salt sidewalks largely because of the damage it would cause to the lawns. It would kill lawns. It would also cause a serious environmental runoff. So for all those reasons, on a day like today, when you've had the freeze and the thaw, you're going to have some ice, you're going to have some slippery spots, and we want to encourage everybody to please be careful when they're out. We've had some questions about our trails. We had a great discussion about trails and plowing them, and maybe there's some plowing that's being done on the canal trail in Pittsford, I think, and we're going to get some more information about that. But most of our trails are not made of asphalt the way the canal trail is when it goes through Brighton. Like the Brickyard Trail, they're made from stone dust, and there's a number of reasons for that. Stone dust is environmentally sound. It's permeable. Runoff can just sink through into the ground. It is less expensive to construct, less intensive to maintain, less likely to cause root damage or to be damaged by roots when it goes through woodlots, as the Brickyard Trail and others of our trails do. So on a stone dust trail, it's really not possible, a snowplow blade on that trail is going to cause some serious damage. Stone dust trails are ADA accessible, but we do know, I walk those trails every day, and I do know that they can be slippery this time of year. It may be a time of year that you want to take a day off from walking the trail. We know people have been out in the parks. It's wonderful. Spring is going to come. I heard the woodpeckers out there this morning. Spring is going to come. So again, but I wanted to explain that because I have gotten some questions about the Brickyard Trail, the Canal Trail, and some other trails. We're going to continue to look at the Canal Trail, and we're not going to be in a position to plow it this year, but we'll look at it going forward, particularly now that the Highland Crossing Trail connects into the Canal Trail. But we're going to have to look at equipment. We're going to have to look at staffing. We're going to have to look at the expense of doing that. So, all right. We'll now proceed with the open forum. If there is anybody that would like to address the board during the open forum, as I mentioned a moment ago, they can call the town 303-3060. Someone will take their call and forward a summary of their question or comment to me. But in the meantime, we will continue on with the agenda, and I will ask Councilmember Warner if you would move to approve the agenda.
Bill, I move that we approve the agenda as is before us.
Second, Robin.
Thank you, Rob. Any discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mann.
Aye. Moving on to public hearings, we have one public hearing tonight concerning proposed tree removals at various locations around the town. 2 trees at 30 Delaware Avenue, 2 silver maples. These are trees, by the way, located in the right-of-way, but adjacent to those addresses. 271 Sylvan Road, a 52-inch silver maple. 56 Shoreham, a 36-inch silver maple. 105 Bonnie Bray, a 35-inch silver maple. So there's a theme here. Dan, has the necessary legal notice been given on this public hearing?
Yes, Supervisor. Notice was published in the February 11th edition of the Brighton Pittsburgh Post.
Thank you. And communication was made to the adjoining property owners as well?
That is correct, Supervisor.
Thank you. Then I declare this public hearing on those trees to be open. I will note that we have correspondence for the record of this public hearing dated February 9th, 2021 from Justin Howell, speaking in or writing in support of the removal of one of those trees. You have tree hazard evaluation forms for all of those trees. Mike, is there anything you want to add in addition to the material that's in those hazard forms and the correspondence? We've got photos of the trees.
Just real quick, we obviously did take this to the tree council. They were in agreement with the removal and replacement of the trees. We'll certainly contact the owners before we replace the trees. Again, they're just large silver maples. Their trees they're tough trees, and when they fail quickly, and it's not a good situation. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Howell, by the way, was commenting concerning the 2 trees located at 30 Delaware Avenue and indicating his support. Have we received any comments from the public at this time? I don't believe that we have, other than Mr. Howell's communication. I will ask, while we're waiting to see if we have received, no, we have not. Any comments from members of the board? Hearing none, and having received no comments other than the correspondence from Mr. Howell, I declare this public hearing to be closed. And Chris, I'll ask you to make the motion.
Bill, with respect to the matter of the tree removals at 30 Delaware Avenue, 271 Sylvan Road, 56 Shoreham, and 105 Bonnie Bray, I move that we authorize the removal in accordance with the resolution before us.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second, Jason.
Any discussion? And we have not received any comment. I think I declared the public, yes, I declared the public hearing closed. Then Dan, if you would call the roll, please, on that motion.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mann.
Aye. Councilmember Corrado, can I have a motion to receive and file communications?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second, Chris.
We have, in addition to the one we just received for the public hearing, we have some communications tonight. We have from the town clerk of Chilai, Virginia Ignatowski, we have communication concerning the repeal and the replacement of Chilai's zoning code, as well as a seeker environmental assessment form attached to that. We also have communication from Jennifer Cesaro, Monroe County Controller, with information on the fourth quarter 2020 sales tax distribution. And I'll ask you in a moment, Paula, to summarize that for us. We also have communication from Jack Moffett, Clerk of the Monroe County Legislature, concerning the annual enrollment form for agricultural districts in Monroe County. Those forms are accepted during the month of March, and we'll forward that to your office, Mike, to see whether there are any appropriate districts. We have communication from the Penfield Central School District from Dan Driffel, the Assistant Superintendent for Business and Finance, concerning their seeker negative declaration for the school district's plan of a capital project for their Transportation Operations Center. And last but certainly not least is a very nice letter from Joan Dallas and John Eckelben, complimenting the assessor's office on the help that they received from the assessor this year. Nice always to hear that. So you have all of these letters in your packet. Paula, any comments on the sales tax?
Well, I was hoping for a larger number. We received $1,097,000, which is down just over 100,000 from the third or the last quarter in 2019. So it's not horrible, but overall for 2020 we came in about 300,000 below budget. And given the COVID situation, it was less than we projected. I did a conservative projection, so I'm happy to tell you that we did come in a little bit better than expected, but still below budget. So, and I know the first quarter, or at least for January, I believe sales tax collections were down about 6%.
That's correct,
So,
about 6.5%.
Yep, so we're hoping that that'll pick up.
Yeah, the first quarter is clearly going to continue. February was pre-COVID, and we'll begin to see maybe in March. But thank you. Any other comments or discussion on any of these items of correspondence? Hearing none, and we have a motion and a second. Dan, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing.
Aye. And we still have received nothing on the open forum, so the open forum is closed. We'll go to committee reports, starting as always with the Community Services Committee. Robin?
Of course, I'm losing my buttons as you speak, so thank you so much, Bill. The Community Services Committee was scheduled to meet on February 18th, but of course, due to the restrictions resulting from the pandemic, we did not convene. I do have some updates, as usual, from our department heads, from our Recreation Department. Winter Spring 2021 program registration for our recreation programs is ongoing. New programs are being added frequently, so make sure you do check our website, your email, and the Recreation Department Facebook page to stay up to date with all of our latest happenings. Spring events, stay tuned for announcements regarding the upcoming St. Patrick's Day and Spring Bunny events. Registration is currently open for our St. Patrick's Day cutout cookie take and make, Lucky Leprechauns, and our Brickyard Bunny Trail events. So more details are to follow, and we are hopping with excitement. Weekly emails. would like for everyone to keep an eye out in your emails for our weekly recreation updates. We've been emailing upcoming program details to make it easy for everyone to register and stay up to date with new program startups, as we haven't had a paper brochure. The online, this is actually a benefit of the online programming, so we can update you frequently. So we do that on a weekly basis. An update to our Monroe County Grab and Go Senior Meal Program. We continue to provide those grab and go style meals each week as part of the Monroe County Nutrition Program. And we're just thrilled that this important program continues to provide critical assistance to our seniors in 2021. Again, you can order ahead packaged meals. They're available to seniors age 60 and over. Meal pickup is at our very own Brookside Recreation Center. And if you have any questions, please contact us for details. The number to place your order as well is 585-784-5260, extension 0. And if you just leave your name and phone number, we will follow up with all of the details. Again, the Brighton Farmers Market is closed for the winter season. Reopening plans will be announced in the spring of 2021. So just check back in March for those reopening details. Again, you can always stay up to date at the Brighton Farmers Market website. That website is www.brightonfarmersmarket.org. And again, we're looking forward to a great 2021 season for our recreation programs, and updates will be communicated via email, our town website, and the Recreation Department Facebook page. An update too from our Parks Department, rental facilities remain closed and are continuing to be reevaluated on a month-by-month basis. At this time, we are canceled through to the end of March. Certain factors such as past compliance issues and winter weather are forcing everyone to remain in the facility with our occupancy for lodges at half capacity, so just 45 people. Those are all factors that played a part in that decision-making process. And we're hopeful that once springtime weather hits, we'll be able to resume renting facilities. As you know, the request for internal staff promotion was approved at our February 10th board meeting, and Adam Springer will officially assume full-time duties on March 1st. It will be the first time since February 2019 that we will be at full staff. Adam's familiarity with the department will allow the Parks Department to hit the ground running. Parks continues to work with the Urban Forestry Group led by George Smith and the Brighton Rotary to set up multi-week tree planting, a multi-week tree planting plan that will kick off on April 10th and focus on planting 200 trees over a 4-week period at Buckland Park. We're continuing to focus our efforts on trail maintenance at the Park Department and have identified multiple areas in our trail system that do need a little bit of maintenance work. Unfortunately, COVID restrictions put on the staff over the summer and their limited ability to complete various trail maintenance projects, have hindered our work in that regard. And with regard to our parks and trails, they continue to be heavily utilized as passive and active recreational options, and we thank people for taking advantage of them. The park staff are busy with inventory, preventative equipment maintenance, along with various other projects that have been identified on our ongoing maintenance schedule. They are continuing to identify potential capital improvement projects for future budget input, and they are continuing to receive large volumes of spring athletic field requests. If school fields do remain closed, which could potentially see a tripling of the amount of field requests, unfortunately, this could potentially push our outside groups away, which would impact our revenues. So we'll once again be holding groups to our COVID-19 policies, as well as any state mandates that are in place. As people may know, New York State has lifted the ban on high-risk sports such as basketball and volleyball. As a result, the Parks Department will be reinstalling the basketball rims this season and the volleyball nets in the parks as soon as the weather breaks. We will continue to monitor and evaluate our department COVID-19 policies to keep both staff and community safe when we do reopen those facilities. And finally, the Parks Department is continuing to build up the park project work list, which helps to identify issues and potential issues that are needed address. An update to our CCA, enrollments continue for our community distributed generation or community solar program through Source Power. We encourage all who are eligible to sign up, since our supplier, Source Power, will be issuing money to the town for our subscriptions that will be used towards additional sustainability efforts. The Sustainability Oversight Committee and town staff will be thinking about potential sustainability projects toward which those funds can be applied. And finally, an update to our IDEA board. We continue to work on creating a website for the Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Advisory Board that's outside of the normal splash page that is featured on the town website. But in addition, I wanted to talk about a bit of programming that kind of dovetails with some of our work on the IDEA committee. And Jason, I'm sure you're familiar with this. The Meadowbrook Cord, or Confronting Our Racist Deeds group, is presenting a virtual forum, From Symbolic Act to Concrete Steps. And this is a virtual conversation with Shane Wiegand and Connor Dwyer Reynolds. That conversation will occur via Zoom on March 2nd from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. And we hope that you'll join us to learn a little bit about the history and what CORD is doing within the Meadowbrook neighborhood and beyond to address some of these issues of inclusion, diversity, equity within our town. The next meeting of the Community Services Committee would have occurred on Wednesday, March 17th. However, I do not believe that we are resuming meeting in person, so that meeting will be canceled. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Finance, Jason.
Yes, Bill, the Finance and Administrative Services Committee, like our other committees, did not meet at our regularly scheduled time last week. However, the agenda items and supporting documentation were circulated by Finance Director Paula Parker to members of the board for review and comment if needed. Each of those items do appear on tonight's agenda and will be voted on and discussed in further detail. Our next meeting would have been scheduled for Tuesday, March 2nd. However, in accordance with the restrictions due to COVID-19, we will not be meeting. And that's it.
Thanks, Jason. Christine, Public Safety?
Public safety update, maybe even shorter than Robin's and Jason's. Public safety was not scheduled to meet since the last town board meeting. I have no updates from Brighton Volunteer Ambulance or either fire department, but I will give Chief Catholdi an opportunity to provide an update directly on the activities of the Brighton Fire. Let's try that again. The Brighton Police Department.
Thank you, council member. Well, as you know, and as most people have seen from the news media, we were able to make an arrest in a homicide that occurred last week. So we've been, much of our effort in the last week and a half has been focused on follow-up investigation. And just to give kudos to the men and women of the department, the afternoon of the crash on Highland Avenue, investigators were tasked immediately, right around 3 p.m., 3:30 p.m. And they literally worked from 3 p.m. That afternoon all the way through until about 5 o'clock the next morning. So it was a lengthy investigation. They put a lot of time and effort into it. I can't thank them enough. It was amazing police work from the patrol division up to and including the investigators and the command staff that we have in place. We were able to locate that vehicle within 50 minutes, 50 minutes, which was incredible. You know, we've had meetings since, and I don't know what would have happened if we would not have been able to locate that vehicle. But just some of the numbers that you know, there were a total of 5 search warrants that were served. We conducted 3 search warrants here in the town of Brighton, 2 in the city of Rochester. We also did a search warrant on a vehicle for forensic evidence and follow-on evidence. In total, we spent probably about 350 hours of time on this case, which is quite extensive for a small police department. Some of that overtime just in our criminal investigation division, about 150 hours, but we had to pull resources from our patrol staff to supplement and backfill and assist with the investigation, following up, canvassing neighborhoods, looking at video evidence from neighbors. So in all, about 450 hours investigating this case. There were a total of about 10 hours of surveillance that we put into this. The last count that I had was 130 pieces of evidence that we have collected as part of this investigation. Presented to a grand jury last Friday. I know there's been some talk in the community. I've heard some questions and I've received questions, and I think they should be addressed about releasing a mugshot. There is no law enforcement interest in releasing a person's mugshot at this stage of the investigation. If there were, I certainly would release it. It's in keeping with the governor's directive on not releasing mugshots. Not to mention the fact that there may be further identification procedures that may need to be conducted, and we certainly don't want to do anything to obstruct the jury, a potential jury pool. So that's really where we are with the investigation. I can't say enough work or enough good things about the men and women department. They really stepped up for this. It's you know, the first time in at least 25 years where we had, for lack of a better term, a whodunit investigation. We've had murder suicides in town, but this was really a whodunit. And as I've said, it's tragic all the way around. A young female is now facing a very significant sentence, and you know, Mr. Coker and his family, he has an extended family. It's just tragic all the way around. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, Chief, for the update, and many thanks to all who were involved in resolving that in such a speedy and professional way. It's one of the most difficult aspects of the work that you and your team do is confronting these really appalling circumstances and handling them with grace and professionalism. So thank you for the update to the community, and thank you for the safety that you continue to provide. The Public Safety Committee is scheduled to meet next month, Tuesday, March 9th. Not likely to happen in person, but I will be in contact with our public safety agency leaders in the interim, and will provide an update at the next town board meeting. And if community members have any concerns, they are always welcome to bring them to my attention or to any of the members of the Public Safety Committee's attention. Contact information can be found at townofbrighton.org/public safety committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine, and thank you, Chief, for that presentation. Thank you to your entire team. Echo what Christine said. Kudos, but I also, you know, I think I want to. Sorry, I just had a leg cramp there. I also, you know, I used the word guardian a few minutes ago in talking about the Daniel Prude case, and that's what you have just described to us is a police force serving as guardians to the community. Yes, that sometimes means you're arresting people, and in this case, arresting someone in a very serious charge, but you did so in that role as guardian, guarding the safety of the community and serving serving and protecting, as they like to say, and it's appreciated. Thank you. Finally, Public Works. Chris.
Bill. The highway and DPW and Brighton Police Departments continue to work with the county staff and to provide the rapid COVID testing site, which you mentioned earlier, at Temple Birth Kodesh on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. About 300 to 325 tests each day, and the reservations can be made at the county website, www.monroecounty.gov, to make an appointment. And appointments can be made starting at noon on Friday. The Facilities Department is preparing an RFP for the Town Hall HVAC improvements. This is going to be a substantial undertaking and will include other improvements to the Town Hall in addition to just the HVAC system. The town staff continue to finalize the farmers market site improvements. The interior there has been completed under contract. They're also working to finalize the Brighton Memorial Library roof reconstruction project, the roadway condition survey, the French Road sidewalk along with Elmwood Avenue and South Clinton Road, sidewalks along with North Landing sidewalk, the climate action plan, and the multiversity plan. So those are all projects that will hopefully go forward shortly into the season. We're awaiting responses to the sidewalk maintenance contract tomorrow, and the results will be presented to the town board, we anticipate, in March. And the highway crews have obviously been busy with the recent snow events, but they've also started trimming trees. So the weather continues to direct our activities, but they're very active. We continue to be unable to have our meetings in the ordinary fashion. They're usually scheduled for the first Tuesday of the month at 9 a.m. Next one would have been March 2nd, but we'll continue to have to forego those for the time being. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Chris. We'll move to new business, and as always, start with the reading and approval of claims. Jason?
Yes, Bill, earlier today, I reviewed claims totaling $1,311,063.96. Notable claims include to the city of Rochester in the amount of $386,860, representing the first quarter 2021 payment for fire protection for the West Brighton Fire Protection District. Also to the Depository Trust Company in the amount of $360,650, representing payment for park land acquisition serial bonds, which were issued in 2007 and refinanced in 2016. And of that amount, $350,000 was principal. Also to the New York State Comptroller in the amount of $23,503.50, representing payment for the December 2020 court fees collected in Brighton Town Court, and that represented the state and county share of the fines and fees collected. And finally, to MVP Healthcare in the amount of $244,979.18, representing employee and retiree health insurance premiums. And a portion of those premiums are contributed by the participants in the health plans offered by the town. The claims all appear to be in order, and I move that they be approved.
Second,
Okay.
Robin.
Thanks, Robin. You know, I just observed, you know, we've all heard people talk about traffic tickets and people say, it's, you know, they're just doing it to raise money. As you see from that, actually a very large portion of those fines does not stay with the town of Brighton. It goes on to the state and county. So it ain't necessarily so. Thank you. Dan, if there's no other comments, could you please do the roll?
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye, and Jason, I'll let you do the next one as well.
All right, and the next matter seeks to authorize 2020 budget transfers and appropriations and fiscal year 2021 reappropriations of grant funds for capital projects. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Chris.
Paula?
Well, there's 5 pages, and this year, this is the lightest year I've seen for our adjustments in our budget. So we've transferred, these are transfers between each department. We have not had to actually appropriate any funds at all this year. We were able to move money around and cover the accounts that were over. I did have to make one appropriation in 2020, and that was for the debt service fund for $3.41. Seems we were a little bit off on that one. And I just want to call, yeah, I just want to call your attention. Chris just talked about the few of the projects that are going on. We had the Climate Smart Grant, the French Road Sidewalks, and the Multiversity Grants, all budgeted in 2020. Obviously, due to COVID, we were not able to get to any of those projects. So the last thing in this list is our 2021 reappropriation of those 3 grant projects, so that those funds will now roll into 2021 so that we can get those projects completed.
Thank you, Paula. Any questions for Paula? Thank you. Then we have a motion and a second. If there are no other comments, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Robin, next one, please.
Thanks, Bill. The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to execute a new contract with Immediate Mail Services, Inc. for processing the town's mail for an initial term of 3 years. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Christine.
Dan, anything you want to say about this one?
Well, yeah, it just, as we go through time, I'm always looking for efficiencies in our processes, and part of it is I don't really feel, after having inherited the front desk a number of years ago, I don't really feel our mail volume warrants us needing our own meter and having that lease expense and the supply expenses every year. But really what kind of finally drove it home was our facilities folks often have to run up to the post office when we have, citations and things. So they have to send certified mail, and the mail carriers can't pick those up. We actually have to take them to the post office. And at Christmas time, post office gets pretty busy. And on at least 2 occasions in the month of December, we had staff standing in line in excess of an hour to wait to send a citation. And they have better things to do. It's not an efficient use of their wages and what we're paying them to do. And this part of this new system that our vendor offers is an electronic version of that. So we'll be able to do all that through an electronic system that's partnership, with USPS. We'll save some money on return, the green, return address receipts. We'll save some money on each of those. But again, a big savings on staff time for sure. And I think it'll just be more efficient and to just let them do that work for us.
That's great. Thanks for that explanation. I know, as always, you're trying to do more for less. Great job. We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Chris, the next matter, please.
Bill, the next matter is to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with Waste Management as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder for servicing the town's dumpster and recycling at Town Hall, Highway Operations Center, Meridian Center Park, the Brighton Town Park and Buckland Park for the calendar year 2020. I move that we adopt the resolution before us. Did I say 2020, year 2021?
2021. Yeah.
Thank you for the head shake, Counselor.
Is there a second?
Second, Jason.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. Christine.
The last matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to execute a stormwater sewer maintenance easement agreement and a sidewalk easement agreement as prepared by the town attorney. I move that we adopt the resolution.
Second, Robin.
Mike?
This is pretty standard with our projects. This is the new diner out there on West Henrietta Road. As part of the improvements, you have to put a stormwater facility in to make sure that we're getting water quality off the site. As part of our Stormwater Code 215, we're required to have a stormwater maintenance program. What that allows us to do is if we ever have to go in there and take care of it, we can back charge the owner to do that. It's incentive for the owner to maintain that system. The sidewalk easement is something that's very important, particularly along West Henrietta Road. That will provide us at least the ability at some point to have land available to install sidewalks on that roadway.
Thanks, Mike. And you know, I've just two observations. One on that last point. I've had some conversations on social media with folks in West Brighton. You and I have talked about it. Getting sidewalks on West Henrietta Road has been a long time goal. We got a little bit when they did the interchange work a few years back. But we know the state at some point is going to be doing a pretty high level reconstruction of West Henrietta Road. And we've laid the chips on the table. We want a sidewalk. Sidewalk is really important there. It's important for safety. It's important for economic development. Complete streets are the state's philosophy, and we're going to hold them to that. So while we don't have any specific date on when that project might take place, we know they're beginning to do some study work. And I just want everybody out there in West Brighton to know how important that is. And this action, although it's just a small piece of it, is one part of doing that. Having that easement in place is one less easement we have to worry about, or the state will have to worry about getting when it comes time to build those sidewalks. The other thing I want to say is I have not seen a project so anticipated by a neighborhood as that diner is going to be there. So I'm glad we're one more step closer. We're looking forward to the owner getting that open. I know I'm looking forward to going over there and trying it out, as I do any new restaurant that comes to Brighton. So getting closer, and I'm glad to hear it. Thanks, Mike. We have a motion and a second there. Any further comments? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. Matters of the supervisor, we have the January 21 expense and revenue report. Finance Director Paula Parker. What do you got for us?
Well, I have an unremarkable month. January is historically light because for most of January, we're kind of cleaning up December of the previous year. So it's receive and file. There's nothing remarkable about this month. In fact, it's trending the same as it always does. Very low because of, again, having a lot of the claims for December of 2020.
Very good. Jason, can we have a motion to receive and file?
I move we receive and file the expense and revenue report for January 2021.
And a second.
Chris.
Is that Chris? Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePoncio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Matters of the town attorney.
Just one this evening, Supervisor. I just wanted to extend my thanks to the town board for making it again possible this year for me to attend the New York State Association of Towns Conference. Of course, I did that remotely this year, but I attended 2 days of continuing legal education with some great topics and great speakers. Started the sessions out on Monday morning with a discussion of zombie homes. And one of the features of that presentation, of course, was our very own case here in the town of Brighton, which was heralded by the folks at the New York State Association of Towns as an important decision. And they extended, the New York State Association of Towns extended on behalf of all of the towns across New York State, their thanks to all of you for supporting that litigation, making sure that we got it right through the appeal to the New York State Court of Appeals and got that decision that we did receive back in December that upheld the obligation of the county to reimburse the towns for maintenance and repair costs that are needed when homes become vacant or in disrepair. So I wanted to share that with you, but the entire conference was excellent, and thank you for the opportunity to attend and learn more.
Thanks, Ken. And on that note, and the fact that it was remote made it much cheaper and easier to attend this year, and we were really all able to take advantage of that. But on the third day, or the final day, it's after 2 days of training as a vice president of the association and as a delegate, we had our annual delegates meeting, and we really worked through an agenda of important town legislative programming, making sure that home rule is protected in our towns, making sure that particularly some of our rural areas have broadband access. Every year we go through a process of profiling and prioritizing legislative objectives for the Association of Towns, always with the goal of supporting the role of towns in New York State government. So it was a good conference. I hope everybody else that was able to attend got as much out of the training as I did. Thank you for that report, Ken. Matters of the town clerk. Sorry, Dan, didn't mean to catch you in the middle of things there.
Nothing this evening, sorry.
No problem. Thank you.
I
Matters of the
In
town.
my head, I heard you say town board. I didn't have anything anyway, so I was just gonna let it go.
Well, now I will say town board. Anything from the town board? All right, hearing none. Can I have a motion to go into executive session? We note here employment of a particular person in litigation. I think I'd also like to add a brief discussion relating to real estate. So Robin, if I can have a motion to go into executive session
So moved.
for those items.
Second, Christine.
Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePoncio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to Allie and Heather, our interpreters. I just want to mention real quickly, because we do have someone, you see her there, and you might wonder why Alyssa is here. Alyssa is a student from Alfred, and she is learning the trade of court reporting. So she's been joining us for several of our meetings, and it's good to have you, Alyssa.
Thank you for having me. I've been sitting in on many actually of Brighton's meetings, and I've been getting a lot of experience. And actually today I noticed how much I've been improving. So thank you so much. It's been a great help. So I
Wonderful.
appreciate
Thank you. Thank you.
it. Thank you very much, everyone.
I do not anticipate that we'll be coming back into open session after the executive session is over. So at our next meeting will be Wednesday, March 10th, 2021 at 7 p.m. I will say that that night I will be giving the annual State of the Town message. So we'll see you all then. Thank you. Have a great evening. Be safe and be well, everybody. Good night.